Hello, everyone. Did you all see the cutest conversation? Wasim is coming over. Mamser wanna see Jad. Let's have dinner outside. And it's like we can order something over and eat together that then we three can go out for dessert. Did you see the cutest conversation after a breakdown? These bros, man. I don't know, I didn't find anything else to focus on. Was there anything to focus on? I don't know. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? How are we doing? The update was very slice of life. I was so close to just posting that drawer. We finally have the drawer. It's not behind the door, behind the bookcase. No, it's actually there in the living room. So, yeah. I was gonna post the drawer picture and saying, when your slice of life has one of these, is the caption. I'm gonna post it. How are we all doing? I heard that N doesn't want me to ask, so I'm not gonna ask. You're not fine at all. I'm very sorry. I thought the four comics after the update would heal some, but I'm sorry. Why do you hurt your brain like that? Narrator says your heart as well, probably. I mean... Hey, Tam. Hello, Andy. Isra, Sleepy. Lee. Silly. Elma. I swear to God, I saw Elma and then I lost you, Elma. Psycho. Hello. Very mundane and nice. Yes. Hey, Nada. Sorry I startled you. Anything to focus on besides White's failed cosplay of Black? Did you see that? That was cute. Too much info in 4 pages? More like too many questions in 2 pages, am I right? The extras hurt even more. Why? Are you talking about the last panel? Appreciating beauty is a thing. No? You cook and make us hungry. Remember, you picked the break after the last page. I gave you the choice. There's a break after chapter 78. Do you want it after the hug or do you want it when the chapter ends? And you said, like, no, it's better to have it all and then take a break. Enjoy your break. Elma lost to the void. I hope you never do, unless it's a psychotic void. But I needed the break very much, honestly. I need to rethink everything that has happened up to this chapter. We have in-depth, huge discussion, and which I hope you enjoy. Because I kind of couldn't make chapter 77 discussion stream when it finished, but it turned out to be for the best. I've never heard D so evil, I'm scared. I mean, Cece. Cia's kinda clingy, so I can't really use my tablet nicely. I hope you do feast well this stream. Black looks good though, doesn't he, in this update? The hair with black top. I'm not even upset. This is brilliant. Chapter 3. Thank you, Blue. Welcome, Blue. Speaking of Blue, last stream, I don't know if anyone remembers, but last stream, and I started this stream with the message because we were wondering what Black sent to White. And I didn't take a screenshot, and I tried to keep my shock at bay for what Blue said. Because I guess it was word by word, kind of like Wasim is coming over and stuff. So once the update, once I finished the stream, I just sent it to Blue. Like, how did you figure this out? He always looks good. Thank you. How about you tell us a secret? Ask me. Will Black ever meet Daniel? A lot of people are betting their lives on it. Not lives, but yeah. So many things that happened in the chapter. I literally was in a different eras in my life from start to finish. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that it moves you that much. They actually planned a chip in your brain and they can see all the updates as you make them. Wait, did Indian Black lied to White? He didn't lie. He said I was asleep. He gave an information. He omitted others. Boy is character developing, is what we say. He said I was asleep. Did he lie? No. If you talk to Dad, I was asleep. You're the Daniel obsessed one. I always enjoy Daniel obsessed readers. I'm gonna talk about Daniel a lot today. We're gonna talk about Daniel a lot because the beauty about having chapter 77 and chapter 78 in the same discussion stream is that we can actually see this session all connected because it was scattered across 2 chapters. He learned that from White. Yeah. Black having a level up in vocabulary choices is something else. Daniel face plush pin, we need that. We definitely need that. The only reason I didn't offer to be a proofreader is because I wanted the suspense. I've always been tempted, though. You know, I had a few submissions, and I am kind of going to pick someone that isn't reading because I don't want to reveal chapter 79 to any of the Discorders. Yeah. Make this stream as long as possible. I hope you stay around. I hope you enjoy it. Make your coffee. We're starting in like 5 or 10. Just chatting. He's just too real. Very happy to hear that. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for the hydrate, Silly. Where is my... I can't move. I will hydrate once Sia leaves my lap because I can't move right now. Why are you not a reader, Nada? Can't wait for Black to avoid the living room and that drawer and White to do it. I quite enjoyed the discussion that happened on Discord. There were a few lines that I just wanted to reply to, but I'd feel bad about the rest of the messages, so I'll go over those after the stream. You only want non-readers to prove. Yeah, that's what I want, but eventually, since I haven't finalized the choice, I honestly, if I couldn't find anyone... The thing is, I don't know. Hey, Aishu. It was such a good Discord. Yeah, it was very fun. I was reading some, then leaving it, then I caught the several people typing more than once. That always makes me feel accomplished, and it's just rewarding. What is this update? We have a cute conversation between Black and White. A lot of people were thinking how Black and White are going to talk after that bromance with the hug happened, but they apparently they have no problem. We have Jad now, center stage. But yeah, the update, we can order something over and eat together, then we three go out for the dessert. White is being very considerate to Jad's health when Jad isn't even talking to him. Our boy. I very much enjoy waking up and reading it all. You guys always take the words out of my mouth. I always appreciate everyone who wakes up early for the update and the stream. There are a few lines there in the update. That's the thing. A lot of you comment on an update in a chapter, like in chapter 78, that I want to point out, like, oh, this is, you're reading the future, or, oh my god, this is gonna pay off so well, but I don't want to tease too much. And at the same time, by the time the chapter that you kind of predicted is released, or the update is released, whoever made the comment that made the prediction doesn't even remember that they predicted something. And it's very wild and very interesting to see it happen. Jad being a drama queen, like, hey, I need the spotlight too. Who else? How else do I get girls? He probably thinks about girls, not girls, women. From time to time. Poor old man. I hate that White is hurt though. Yeah. White is really hurt. We're gonna get to White. This chapter kind of surprised me where it went as I was working on it. 4 pages made headache. Heba, welcome. Sorry about the headache. I hate headaches, so I hope it's a passing headache that comes with stories. That one is fine. We collectively share the same brain cell, and it is the brain cell of a goldfish. So someone predicted right. Well done to whoever that is. I shall be looking over to collect the theories. There are some predictions, there are some lines or comments that are happening in passing, and I'm like, my God. Which comment predicted? I always write comments, so might be me. If it is, I'll buy myself cake. Yeah, if you remember it, because that's the thing. That's what I was just talking about, is people predict things that I can't point out, and then they forget that they predicted it so well. You're probably hearing my phone, sorry. Let me turn it silent mode. It's time to play the long-term game and see where D is heading with the story. It's very... I don't know why people focus on when it comes to slice of life or non-fantasy, non-action stories, non-mystery stories. I don't know why they usually focus on romance, because romance kind of box you in not always, but like generally speaking, it box you in a certain way. School setting as well. It boxes you. You always have certain things to expect, when it's so fun to just not be bound by anything. The story can go anywhere. We have a gun now in the living room. I really love how some of the gaps in Black's mind are starting to being filled in bit by bit, but there are more secrets and things. Yes, yes. Got to have a gun in the living room. It's insane. I mean, it's a house. It's a house with... Okay, one of the points that were brought up in the Discord is Jad being in the army, and he was in the army. Mamser too, and Noir as well. Noir was the captain. So you have this military man and his only son, who is supposedly the mature, reliable, non-crazy type, you know? You can torture people in so many other ways than romance. Yeah, I think that's what some people want. There's a... Yeah, that's for sure. I'm just joking here, obviously, because yeah, it kind of sometimes drive me crazy how, like, oh, if only this... Like, why did I just came up with this Independence Day mid-story? Is because I wanted the beach episode. I wanted... But I don't want to draw skin. I wanted, like, something to box me in. Because this book was just black and white. Black has a ton of people to just talk with or do things with, but white is just Daniel and Jad and Black, and it's just exhausting. I had to just make them boxed in a certain event or something. I really hope it hasn't always been there. Hopes are good. You draw White like he's young White in the first page. This one or the first page in the update? It should be a friendship and healing story, then surprise gun, basically. Let me just open the door for Sia. I swear to God, she times it every time, every single time. 30 minutes in, she's like, oh, I'm done with this room. Quincia. Hey, Hyro, welcome. I think it's normal for a former soldier to have a gun. Yeah. Ooh. You even tired D out. Time to get good. Yes, yes. He he tires me, man. I need more people. I've been writing a lot of things. With White, future White. We hope. It has to happen, but I'm scared who's gonna fire the gun. Fired? Maybe? But why the gun in the living room, even if he was in the military? Living room? Why? I have a million questions in my head. I mean, he's blind. Also, Andy, clippings episode 3 or 4 has a map to Jad's house. The face White is making, you spent too much time there. Are you talking about this face? Because this face has a long story behind it. This face? This face has a story behind it. Future White, when I have you... Seriously, enjoy the break, Dee, because you've been burning pages for months now. Thank you so much, Blue. I just want to be done with the book, honestly. I just want to finish the last extra pages and then find whatever the cover is going to be. And I want to draw more pages. This face, like, are you tearing up, White? Talking about change and then making this face. This is exactly the story behind it. We'll reach here. But we gotta start from the start. It's strange, but since no one comes to the house, no children, so it's fine to have it in the living room. Also, Black doesn't know about it until now. Yeah, and... very interesting. Did you laugh when you said the break after the end of the chapter? I did laugh, not gonna lie. I was like, you're not... Because I was thinking, should I just add choose wisely after I ask the question? But then I knew that if I said choose wisely, you're gonna know what I'm cooking, what I'm preparing. So I'm like, no. So... What cover can you even give a book like this? Thank you, Sleepy. That's exactly where I'm at. Like, yesterday I've been posting the production, the manga book production process, and I started working on the inner book, the inner cover, the one that just have a quote and the pictorial logo. And someone said, like, I can't wait to see the cover. I'm like, me too. I have nothing other than... Because the thing is, I can't not make a symbolic. So I have 3 ideas for this book. I have 3 things that I need to achieve with this cover. It has to be symbolic. It has to have one color that I've been thinking I want this book to be. And I want depth in it. I want depth. If it wasn't a book about recapping and Black's memory and White's identity, the perfect cover would be Daniel, honestly, because Daniel just ruled in this book. But sadly, the boys have to be on the cover when it's these 2 massive ideas, memory and identity. It has to have Black and White. Hey Manar, welcome. Today's update was wild. I already wrote my thoughts on Discord. Is there a way to watch the stream even if it gets deleted? So it stays on Twitch for 7 days, and it should be uploaded on YouTube, but recently, because of the copyright strikes, it's been blocked. Even though I have it unlisted and in a playlist, it's not showing. This is why I'm using this playlist, 3-hour playlist on YouTube. Just like downloaded it and I have it on now. Hopefully it wouldn't be strike and it will still be up. If it doesn't, I will try to send the link. Just let me know, Manar, please. I'll send you the link and we can test it if you couldn't watch it within a week. I thought the cover was the poster you made. Yeah, that's the one I'm using right now on the website, and it's a good one actually. But at the same time, yeah, I feel no, it's better to have a new illustration. I'm also thinking we're gonna talk about this maybe by the end of the stream. But I am thinking a lot about the third box set and all that. It's crazy when I think of all the work and all the planning. Like it's more on the decision and making decisions part of work that is really giving me headaches. Daniel with black and white as angel and devil on shoulder. What color do you guys think the cover will be? Red? I'm not gonna even try to walk around that or like dodge that. Red is the color that is taking over my headspace. I sketched the cover for the third art book and it has red in it, and I still feel like no more. So it's probably red. Blue, black, and white. I don't want blue, even though blue works, but blue is in volume 9, so it's your favorite color, silly. It's a heavy book, but also we will feel relief after reading it a whole, so I think this color fits the most. Yeah, it has to have red. So, where do we start? Let's begin. Red does feel like a good color for change. Yeah, it's very tricky though, because you have to be very careful with the shade that you want to go with. Red and Daniel would be something, right? So let's begin. Let's go. So, since we're talking about the book and the cover, let's just talk a little bit about this book, actually, the recap and retell, because the first 4 chapters, these 4, they're more black focused. May I add something or a question actually to the cover thing? Please, yeah. So the first 4 chapters before the mid half chapter are kind of black focused. We have white in the 3rd chapter. We have him even talking, like opening up. And when you think about it in light of what happens after, all the feeling light and flying over when he talks, it's not that much. It's very grounded in the 3rd chapter of this book, the rework, react. And it's because he was narrating information. He was just giving out facts of his life. It wasn't him talking about feelings. So it was like kind of the retell part, kind of part of the I'm helping Black with his memory. So it was very Black focused until Black was angry at White at first, and then he was like, I want to do it myself, I want to remember him, blah blah blah. And then by the end, chapter 74, he's like, actually I can't do it on my own, so let's White. And chapter 74 ended with Black starting to think, like, moved his hate from towards White towards this new entity, evil Black. While White was hit by the realization. I'm stupid. Hey Abir, welcome. It's scary sometimes, and sometimes even violent, but it adds a new kind of feeling of equally unapologetic change. Yeah, every time I look up anything related, like, let's say, my birthday or my age or any quiz or whatever, red is always there. Like, red is like, should be my color. And I don't know, I kind of like orange more. Of course, the boys are main characters who the focus of the story, but I love when I see mangaka put different characters in each volume cover. Yeah, that is okay. Let me just continue them. It's spot on. It's spotlight on other amazing characters they made. Is there a reason you need the boys on each cover, or is it? No. It's definitely so. Book 10 is the last book with the need of the boys to be front and center. After book 10, it's a bigger story, a bigger universe. Even I think book 10 is gonna be the last one with a dust jacket. From book 11 onwards is gonna be one cover, not one inside and one outside. And it's gonna have, I'm gonna just go wild from there. Like, you can expect, like, Togashi level of wild, not wide, wild. Like, you can see something in grayscale, you can see something in painterly, you can see one character, you can see no characters, like just the studio, for example. Of course, he's going to use red and completely subvert its usual connotation to one of healing. Stupid White, my love. Yes. So this moment in history changed White completely because he has two things, and this was like the first key to this whole spiral he went down into, because he relies on two things: his knowledge of Black and his like task and all that, and his knowledge in general, his brain. He is very dependent and very relies very much and feels strong about these two things. And suddenly he was hit by it. Like, his knowledge is actually nothing because it has no experience attached to it. And Black is changing, so he's losing that. Did you consider adding? I am thinking of eating. I am thinking of adding Evil Black and the cardboard Prince White. I want these two as well. This is why I feel like it's gonna be busy. It's gonna be a busy cover. Like, oh god, it means more chapters and no into the story. So one of the things that was shown before about this thing, like how I'm so stupid kind of rocked his world and changed everything for him, is actually in chapter 65 in volume 9, when he was talking to Daniel, when Daniel visited him. Daniel told him that you used to bite your lip because you didn't want to talk, about your mother or about anything? And he's like, I don't remember that. And Daniel is like, you're little. And White's answer was, but you know me, I hardly forget a thing. But lately I'm noticing small bits of information, like, for example, did I know Dad and Noir were friends? And then he continues, I don't know if I forgot that or never had the info to begin with. He's very shaken by the idea that he doesn't know. So him realizing that he's so stupid was the key. So this is where chapter 74 left us, with White realizing he's stupid and Black starting to understand that it's a thing within him. It's not something that you would blame on someone. Even if White isn't sharing or anything, you should look inside as well. Now, I love White, he's so interesting. Thank you. Rare no blame moment. Now, from there, White is stupid, Black is trying to dig in. Now we're going to be focusing more on White because these two chapters, 77 and 78, are just life-changing. We're gonna walk down the line until we reach that face that you all mentioned, you all love, the crying face. Chapter 75. The first thing happens is him realizing that Daniel is angry with him, and Daniel is angry with him because he lied to him. And it's a new thing. Now, Daniel, on his own, I talked about it on the Discord, but I'm gonna add it here for those who aren't on the Discord. How Daniel starts to strategically move towards walking White towards something because he noticed that White is not the same White from before. I can talk to him now. He's not the White. Let me find it because I had it somewhere. Yeah, there it is. It's not the White that is angry. It's not the White that is going to challenge me, that is gonna glare at me if I say something. It's not the White that... Where is it? The cringiest panel of White. He's not the White that is gonna remove the cigarette and throw it away. He's White that came asking for help, give me advice. And from there on, Daniel took it upon himself he wants advice, and I'm gonna give him the answer that he needs, and he starts from there, strategically, slowly moving towards guiding White on how to do and what to do. Yes, Daniel discussion, we're gonna have that. I feel like in the midst of all the chaos, Black is going to get some world-wrecking event. I mean, we have Yildar somewhere. So, had all this that I talked about now, and the change in White and his openness for Daniel's advice, all that allowed Daniel to actually tell him, no, I am angry with you, actually. And another thing is changing now for White. He is stupid, Black is changing, and wait, what? My uncle is angry with me. And he just runs over there to the park, and we start to see how uncomfortable he is with talking about his feelings and himself. Not in an informing way like he did in chapter 73, in front of the car where Black was sitting when he told him, you split me. Even though he had a mild panic attack there, he was still on top of things in a way, because he was just laying it out like information. But now there's a layer of oh, I hurt my uncle, he's angry, and then I have to talk about things. So I started feeling this lighter and lighter and going up. And he goes back to Black and starts thinking of like this 3 things that happened that shook him, kind of made him start questioning everything. And he's like, how do you feel? How do you navigate these feeling things? And the first thing he does when he loses all that is jump, go to his father and ask him about friendship. Because as I said, he relies on his brain, the knowledge he has about everything, and his friendship. And he realized that, oh wait, I need, he's very ironic, very funny, in a very funny way. He realized that all the knowledge he has is based on no experience. So he jumps to ask about things, like he tries to gain more knowledge. It's just funny when you think about it. He's not doing the right thing. When you realize that you're not experiencing things, you don't go for more books or more answers. But in the same way, you kind of see that he's lowered his walls so much. He's not really that on edge, very sharp edged, and like, I know what I know. I know the right answers. He now doesn't have answers and goes to ask the questions. And he asks Jad, and Jad is chill, gives him all the answers. It kind of walks White towards the realization that, oh no, wait, I have this picture perfect persona, and maybe I was actually unintentionally taking advantage / benefiting from Black's amnesia in keeping that. And that was another moment that kind of hit him. And then we're not going to talk much about Black, because with Black it's very... I was thinking this the other day with Black, and I'm going to say it again by the end of this today's update, actually. For a hearts person like Black to start maturing and thinking, it's like you found the way. You found the end of the rope that will walk you towards new things. With White, when you are a brain person that's trying to feel, you're gonna have to get lost first. That's the sad part. And this is why it's like I can skip Black's journey and everyone is getting it. It's very easy to see because he was lost and now he's found. White he probably was lost, but everything was clear with him, and now we have to muddy everything. The evolution of White's expressive eyes. Yep. Joker-faced Black. Even Black, I love him. I'm not ready for the time that Black is like over this guy. I love him. We already discussed this chapter, but I want to just say everything from White's perspective so we can reach the Daniel White session. And then from him realizing about, oh wait, my picture perfect persona was fueled and was preserved by Black's amnesia. And before, when he started talking to Daniel, he's like, okay, let's try to talk here now. Like, if friendship, he's very funny, honestly, in a sad way, but it's very funny. He is like a kid that didn't grow up, and he's trying to now live things. So he talks to Daniel, learns that, I should try to talk about myself more. He goes talk to to Jad, and Jad tells him, "Oh, friendship is about knowing the other person and be together in their life and stuff." And then Black comes here and being observant. He's like, "What's this?" And Dwight's like, "Okay, let's test it." He's doing reality testing without knowing that he's doing reality testing, but he decided to answer. Black's drowning in trauma water. Meanwhile, evil Black floating on the surface. Yes, that panel, exactly that. He didn't say much. He just went and said that somebody mocked me. Black got excited that White talked to him, and White was faced by the question of, the more I open up, this picture is going to change. This perfect persona I have is gonna change. Can it hold up? And this is where we stopped in chapter 75. Chapter 76 picks up from there when Ali tells him, how about you write something for the fans about No Human? And then that took him inside this whole spiral of identity. Because he was thinking about his picture perfect, his perfect persona around Black and how it was reserved by his amnesia. And now he realized slowly throughout the beginning of this chapter, he realized that it's with everyone actually. At the same time, he's thinking that the more you open up and the more people know things, the more they get tired of it. And it's like he's not understanding. And I remember when I was writing this chapter, I thought about him thinking of humility versus humiliation. It's two different things, but I have this thing, and I think he's gonna write about it in the future, because I kind of liked how he went down that line with definitions, the difference between humility and humiliation, and how they come from the same root, definition-wise. And then they fought after White opened up, right? Yeah, this is the thing. He was thinking about this and thinking of all the scary thing about being known and to be seen. And we see the fight that happened between them. Because it's not that easy. White opening up and Black thinking that, oh, okay, White's gonna talk to me about anything and all things and it's gonna be good. It's not that easy, not with years of them just playing roles around one another. So Black started doing this thing. White told him someone mocked me, and Black started doing like, oh, by the way, I was just teasing. I didn't mean making fun of you. And White didn't like that because, wait, we have this dynamic. We are cool with each other. We are comfortable with one another. I told you one thing and you started being this, I'm gonna do it, don't worry, just stay rested. We're not like, he's not that comfortable with the teasing White or something, and it's like, hold up, I'm having this problem that I don't know myself. I don't know what I do to do with my life. My knowledge is not reliable. I realized so many things, and now you're changing. Like, you're changing too fast. You were already a problem with the change that is happening to you while you're learning new memories. I don't need you to be changing the dynamic between us so fast. When will White start writing for work again? I wonder too. It's so weird. So from thinking about identity last chapter to Ali thinking about his identity as No Human, to remembering the fight between them, to thinking about this persona being built out of all the fiction and all the idealistic writing that he's read his whole life, and realized all the glass layers that he surrounds himself with, even with closest people. All the darkness is inside, and all this pristine, beautiful image outside, and then starting to feel that Black is changing and he's gonna see through me. He's gonna hurt himself in the process. And I'm not gonna be there anymore. The current glass me. And it was just too much together happening that he completely lost, like, who am I? What am I? Because he was faced with the question, where does me as a friend end and my identity begins? Where is that? He can't see anything. And this is what leads us to this whole thinking here, this identity, and questioning if he's even a friend. Glass him. Man White is so self-conscious. Yes, very self-conscious. And then they carry all that. He carries all that and goes up this abandoned building. All these abandoned issues they never talked about. They go up and bring it all to the surface. Because he doesn't know. So he's, again, like he did with Jad, he's now asking the question, like, is it your memory, like, is it this glass, paper thin facade that I have the reason that your memory doesn't really keep me, or like doesn't, you keep forgetting me? What am I if I'm not your friend? Black deciding to change and being like, there you go, I'm making progress. What do you mean it doesn't work like that? And White's holding on any opportunity to keep everything together and have his cake and eat it. I love them. They're such a mess. They're such a mess. His childhood has many changes, so he hates change, especially the... Yes, it was too fast. Like, he was just trying to... This is the thing. This is why I say that White's journey is going to be messy, because things don't go... If you want to control everything, things won't go the way you want them to go. And he was just starting to understand that, oh, my brain isn't reliable, one. I took advantage of Black's amnesia. And then Black is changing, and he's wait, just wait. Easy. I'm not that fast. He asked Jad, then Black, then... Yes, 100%. No answer. This is exactly why I decided to talk about chapter 65 and 75 and 76 before I approached 77 with Daniel's session, because all this is what he's going to tell Daniel. That will get us this face. This Daniel face. I thought we explained that in clippings. White and Black said it. You are his smiley white. Yeah. Better to sit in a mess with a friend. True. My best friend, man. Yeah. This part of the chapter is a very sad one for Black as well, because Black just, as usual, went in all heart. I believe it. Based on nothing, no knowledge. But then he was suddenly scared of reacting to anything White is telling. Like, this is very sad end for the chapter, because White is in a sad way accepting what he is not, the nothing that he is in his mind. And Black is facing like, how do you react to that? I don't have the software with all these changes. And then Black decides to, I'm gonna act like it's okay. So he asks me if I'm okay, I'm gonna nod. And White is like, I can see you're not okay, but okay, I'm gonna roll with it. And I remember when this, like, I remember there was a comment on Discord, like, I didn't feel like anything happened in this chapter. And you can say so, because they just tried and then stopped. But that's exactly, again, the non-linear way to healing. It's kind of a long process. I can't make it as long as it is in real life, but at least I can give it a chapter, like a whole chapter of them trying and failing. And then we're going to see in these 2 chapters we're going to discuss shortly how they tried again. Black is changing, and you realize it's the first time Black remembered long enough to change in the... Yeah. Glances. I love glances, honestly. And they haven't had enough time to glance at one another. I'm curious about the part on the roof when Black was about to cry and tried not to. Because it's the same that happened in chapter 78. He doesn't want to make it about himself. He doesn't want to be the one that is feeling again, and White is going to just put up the brave face and start comforting him when it's something that is sad for White and affecting them both. Both of them are going through tough changes, but White's understanding of everything is just being ripped apart. Black's character development is so well written, but thank you so much. Black wanted to say, I won't leave you behind. It's a thing that White actually needs to hear. But at the same time, he didn't want, because this shows a layer of understanding, past understanding from Black, because they fought in that basketball court over how nice Black is being to White. So he took like a mental note and remembered. So that's why he's not saying this here. He's not saying I won't leave you behind, because I don't want it to be me being nice again. I want to say it in a better way, and it's gonna happen now shortly. And in the end, White decided, yeah, man, it's too many things are changing. How about I stay just this friend? I'll just hold on to this identity for now. It's too much. Too much. Hey, Bankai, welcome. Their developments feel so earned. Thank you. I tried this. I found a picture. I'm gonna share it. I found a picture I took of myself from the security camera I have for Jevi. I was just lying on the floor, and Jevi is sitting on my chest, and I'm just writing, like writing in my head, because White drove me crazy. And I'm gonna show my notebook by the end of the stream. Like once we're done with this on screen, I'm gonna show my notebook to show you how many times it was very hard. This session between Daniel and White is very important, and I didn't know how to address it all, where to put which part. Love is messy and selfish and bold. It's the trying and reaching and failing. Sorry for the half of it again. It's a good quote. And this is exactly, I feel, again, I liberated myself. I gave myself liberty, even though I personally, because I am so aromantic, I can't write romance, which scares me for the future of the series, because we have romance in the future, and I hope I can do it well. That aside, I have the liberty to explore these things, and I've talked about it before. When you don't have the pressure, like when 2 people are in a romantic relationship, you don't always have to make the romance in any scene, but at the same time, you still have these things that should and would happen. But because there is no layer, that layer of complexity and intimacy, it's so easy to explore these ideas to the maximum. So Black decided to act and not react, not do anything, and be like, yeah, I'm okay, let's just move on. with whatever happened. And White decided that, okay, I'm gonna be this only identity I know, which is a friend. And he went to Daniel and told him all that. He's like, so I realized I have this identity issue, and I realized it's okay. I'm gonna be a friend and stay a friend until near future, hopefully. But like for now, this is me, which is like clap. Let's clap for White. He told Daniel all that. You've been doing romantic research by reading romance manga? I kind of started, but no. The thing is, I feel like I don't need to, but again, I'm just like I'm afraid of writing groups of friends and I don't have the experience. I am afraid of writing romance, but at the same time, if people can't ship black and white and they have no romance, I think I can write a friendship and people will see it as a romance, maybe. And then Daniel hits him with, "Are you even a friend?" Ugh. So what I did a beautiful thing, I guess. I feel like it's a good thing. Not a beautiful thing, a good thing. I took all of this session, which shows in chapter 77 and chapter 78, and I made it one long scene, and we're gonna go over that. And then, because we're gonna fix the timeline, I'm gonna show how everything went down. From chapter 76, I imagine it was a Tuesday, maybe, when the Independence Day and the abandoned building thing happened. And then this is the Wednesday, when he went to see Daniel. I love Danny. I want him as a standee on my shelf, so remind me to not be... Yeah, this is the one standee I have in mind now. Daniel sitting on his chair, and then I'm gonna make stickers of like reality testing and razors and stuff like that, so you can all have Daniel with you. What I would give to hear your cover of the song Man or a Muppet? I don't know that song, but I have to check it out. We will see the boys' love relationships. There are multiple ways you can read that line, Taishu. If I remember later, Amaranth so much later. I read something, maybe on an entertainment channel. You mentioned something about romance. I've been meaning to read that again and reply if I have anything to add, or like anything to reply with. But it's a very big topic. So again, I fixed the timeline of the following days because White says, I don't know if it's beginner's luck, being a beginner in life as an adult, trying to step outside of my comfort zone, or if it's a turn of events that's been waiting to be faced for years. But the way my unbound thoughts steered things around me that Wednesday and the days that followed is definitely worth writing about. Let me do a black and white fanfic say that it's a romantic theme, but in reality, it's really not. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, in the end, when you just, like, a lot of people write, not a lot of people, a lot of popular media write romance in a very surface level where, like, even romance relationship aren't always explored enough in a good way. So it ends up being super shallow when you can write any good friendship and picture it as romantic, and it will work just fine, because Romantic partners on the long run, they're just two people who are very comfortable with one another and open with one another and share a life with one another. And yeah, it's a big topic. Black's love story and White's one. Yeah, I get you, but I had to tease. So, is this the most important White Daniel session or not? Thank you, Greyis, for teaching us the power of... Thank you, Andy. Romance. I have a random thing to say. Black and White's relationship was kind of a huge part of my own self-acceptance when it came to romance. I always thought I was kind of crazy for wanting really close friendships rather than any kind of romantic relationship. It was kind of huge for me in an accent. Yeah. This is a thing I personally experienced, and I also believe that you actually do need a very good and big support system of close friendship and good relationship with your family, so you can have a very good and healthy romantic relationship. It is really kind of a ladder, honestly, because it's not like you need more than the one and only, if we're gonna use popular terms like OTP, one and only, and one true pairing, and all that. The one true person for you. You need more than that. It's too unrealistically and unhealthy romanticism. So I'm glad to hear that, Sleepy. And this is exactly like I was looking for something all my life that I couldn't find, and then like I'm just gonna write that. And I wish I can market it in this way for people, but I'm so bad at marketing, man. White already acts like an actual husband who doesn't want to open up about his wounds from war anyway. Yeah, he does. The bromance is too strong. It's not discussed enough in our society. It's not. Wax my platonic OTP. That makes me happy. I was so tired of nothing but romance, and I wasn't even aware of it. Yeah. I'm very glad that I'm able to write this series and that you managed to find it. I always thought and said that romance is overrated. Yes, Angry Daniel is so fun. I love how it deepens his characters and our understanding of his perspective on the story, not just as the archivist, but as an actor. Yeah, this is something that White himself is going to be shocked by. Like, wait, he's part of my story. Oh no, I forgot about that. Again, White's worldview being shaken over and over again throughout the second part of the book is my favorite thing. Hey Naru, welcome. I totally about how you don't just need one and only. That's one. I have a close friend who always thought of friendship is this, just like these people that you pass the time with, you hang out with, no need for any closeness and like emotions and blah, blah, blah. And then she got married to the love of her life, and she has a great life with her husband, and like she's living the life. But she, like within 2-3 months, she realized the importance of friendship. Like real deep friendship. I was blown away with her change. But yeah, because the thing is, it is a very important and the truest thing, but you need help with that. Like, I remember I wrote, remember that scene of Black, and I talked about it before for those long-time viewers, long-time readers. That scene of Black and White in front of Wasim's school in chapter like 22, I want to say. And when Black asks him, like, will I become an abuser and all that? And I always think of all these scenes that I wrote, and I always think of, if I have the time, I want to rewrite them as if it was a romantic story and how it will change. Because, again, just like I mentioned it before too, with the whole dynamic of Black wanting to stay with the Eldar while Eldar is abusing him and he wants to hide the truth and all that, because White is the friend, he couldn't give Black an ultimatum. He couldn't give Black or like interfere in an aggressive way to stop it. But I imagine if it was romantic, he wouldn't have, like, there is a level of disconnect of rationality when it comes to romance in such extreme cases. Real. I love stories that remind me that when you open up about your experiences and thoughts, there will always be people who will either understand or be interested in listening. There are always people like that, for sure, yeah. Ikokuniki on friendship, how I love... Yeah, Ikokuniki. Ikokuniki is a very good... Oh my god, Ikokuniki, there's this moment in that story that shook me because it's so real. Oh my god. I need to talk about Ikokuniki. That would be so fun, honestly, to see. I'll try to find the... I wrote it in a document, I remember. I wrote that whole scene, if it was from White as a romantic partner and how he would react. And so yeah, Daniel and White. White woke up and drove to Daniel and decided, told him everything. Here's my problem. And I decided that I'm gonna do nothing about it. And Daniel is like, isn't this a passive way out? Exactly what you do every time he forgets you? You're just doing it all over again, man. And this is, you can easily miss the change in White from previous encounters, what I showed earlier, how edgy and sharp-edged he was. In every single time Daniel says something like that to him, he's always so defensive and gets angry and glares and all that. And I wrote something about this specifically in my notebook. This part was part of the grandma phone call. But I took it out. Let me bring my mic a little bit. So I just thought of White's thoughts here, and like Daniel was critical of my submissive approach to this. However, I didn't feel attacked or weak by his criticism, which is something new to White, because he usually is very afraid of being perceived as weak. For some reason, it felt different than the times before. Maybe because it's because he told me he doesn't judge me. That's in chapter 75 in the park, when Daniel told him that he doesn't judge him. But I also think this layer of emotion I'm feeling is now, and I didn't finish the thought process here, but it was like something about White thinking that because there's this layer of emotion unlocking in him, and his open to understanding how other people are seeing things is what made him not be so defensive and angry with what Daniel is saying. That can only dream of having a notebook tour like this. Yeah, we're gonna go over the notebook tour once we're done. And then White is very aware again and says that, true, it is the same passive way, but there's difference here because and it's shown kind of in chapter 76. Like, he has some real acceptance to the fact that he is nothing without being a friend. And it's not like didn't make him spiral or angry or sad or want to run away or something. He's just like, oh, so this is it. And he accepted in a good way. And then they decided to continue from the park talk. And Daniel instantly is like, yeah, you are the one who approached me about this appointment, which is something that you never do. And White decides to talk about mornings because in chapter 75, he woke up after remembering the day he woke up with his mother gone. And a thought crossed his mind when he heard Jad and Black, his best friend and his father, talking and laughing and all that. He realized how much he appreciates waking up with people around, with sounds, not just complete silence, like that day. It's like him accepting that he's not the main character. Yeah, he never saw himself as the main character, but he just accepted that that's all there is to me, and it's okay. I'm just gonna stay here until Black needs me, until Black stops needing me, and then I'll freak out there then. This panel here, I think I don't know how I'm gonna show these. This panel here, this is one option that I was thinking of. This gave me a little bit of trouble, so this is some of the behind the scenes. I thought of why just sitting and doors opening, like when he like here I imagine, because he's thinking first, like he always have this anxiety with Black, his situation, his impulsive nature, his memory, and I imagine the initial thought was him White opening up the door to find Black like maybe killed by Yildar. So this anxiousness he felt with Black's situation, and then the anxiousness he felt with Black's memory. Did he forget me? So I thought of White coming back to Black, not remembering him, and then him finding Jad on the floor. This is a clipping, actually. One day I'll draw it. Black will make every morning so loud when he finds out. Yeah, right? Even without expecting the same thing as White, this relief is so touching and warm. I love this little... Thank you. And then I was just about to say, good thing you didn't draw. Yeah. This is... I've written this clipping already. I have to draw it. When he saw Jad on the floor. And then White, like a champ, went with, like, for the fun of it, I took it a step deeper and thought of why I have problems with mornings. And that's when he decided to talk about when she left. And Daniel was taken aback by it, like, oh, we're going there? Oh my god. We had the same reaction, Danny, don't worry. Yeah. And he is behind the glass. Yes, Danny glasses. Yes. Glass is everywhere in this book, so it has to be in the cover as well. And then White, perceptive as he is, self-aware as he is, as usual, just picks up quickly how silent and distant Daniel suddenly felt. And this is when Daniel suggests, how about seeing another therapist? And White was completely surprised that, oh wait, like for a second, this is the interesting part. He said, I'm wondering how would you feel about switching to another therapist? White suddenly thought of, oh, he's gonna leave. Because when I marketed this thing, not marketed, but like when I showed this exit sign more than once, a lot of people thought that it's White wanting to run away, but it's actually him seeing the exit sign. People use the exit door all the time. So for 2 panels, he thought he's gonna leave, asked why, look at the difference between his shock and his like neutral face, like why? And instantly he saw it. Daniel is with him in this. And this is, I had to think, it didn't give me much trouble because I saw it. I saw it when I wrote it. But I feel like it is very intentional, their poses, because Daniel is so much like White. But Daniel have experience and is more comfortable with who he is than White is. They are different. There are many things like the dangerous, bratty, rebellious part of White. I don't imagine Daniel having that. But they kind of ended up being the same. And this is why White has a conflict within him, but Daniel is okay with himself. And you can see from the floating, like, yeah, Daniel is also uncomfortable speaking or talking about this topic, but he's more in control and more fine with talking about it than White, who is like floating in a very open way, versus how Daniel is looking just like a master wizard or something. This panel is one of my favorites. Again, Daniel is the one that is on the floor first, and he is the one who is grounding White. Daniel has aura, he does. Warlock Danny. Looks like walking while floating, I like that. Kite White. Did it occur to White before that Daniel might be hurting from this? I mean, he apologized. Yeah, he apologized. But again, just like Black wasn't aware of White's pain, White wasn't aware of Daniel's pain. Because those people who carry themselves very well and don't show their pain or don't talk about it are easy to just overlook. And White, for the longest time, was only hyper-focused on Black. Now, who's ready for some pain? I so love these panels for the conversation between the two. Genius. Thank you, Hyro. Always? Okay. Thank you for the replies. you're here for it. So this is sad already, okay? I figured maybe my need to watch out for the future is because I failed to see the signs. Now, this is sad in itself because you were 5. Again, you were 5. Like, what signs would you see? It's very sad that he's blaming himself. Like, it's my fault for not realizing that she's gonna leave. Not her. You regret your agreement. Honestly, with White's experience with men in general, I can only imagine how much comfort Daniel gives him as a role model and a like-minded thinker that isn't a mess or someone who dwells on his... Yes, this is the thing. Like, we had a long discussion, and if anybody doesn't join Discord, here's the Discord. Great discussions happen there. We talk about all things at length. And one of the things we talked about is this question, because I ended the update here last time. Like, when he asked this question, I ended the update. So there was a whole week of people predicting and talking about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. And from years and years ago, I said that Daniel is the only therapist that White can be with, because there is some danger zone there because they are related, but at the same time, nobody can understand the nuance. And White's, like, for the longest time, even to this day, many readers misunderstand him because with his, like, the amalgamation of everything that makes him up, makes him look a certain way, especially to therapists, that they would diagnose him for something. Like, they will see everything that he does, all the maladaptive habits that he have, that they will, like, conclude a certain disorder when these habits are the problem to begin with. It's not like he has a certain disorder that is, and these are symptoms. They are not symptoms. They are the problem. Daniel, because he knows White from his childhood and who he is and how he acts and knows his life, he knows his pre-life, he knows his mother, he knows a little bit of Jad. He can actually see him clearer than any other therapist. Now, there is a time, I imagine there will be a time where Daniel's job is going to be done. If White comes on terms with his childhood, he might need another therapist for other things. But at this stage, it was very crucial, and it's very crucial to ask the question and make White choose. But Daniel knew that he is the one that should be on this armless chair. It's not an armchair. It would be funny to see fast forward for 20 years later with White in the role of Daniel. You know, one of the most beautiful theories I ever got was when chapter 31 released, and somebody had this theory, like 31 is the chapter where Daniel appears. And somebody had this theory that this is White in the future writing. I loved that theory. I loved it. One of the theories that made me think, like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? You're not late. I haven't shared the pain yet. How do we sell the Discord? We have to choose for your cheers and whack hugs to ease your fears. Great one. Danny ends the series by closing White's book while sitting on his... Oh, my heart. Daniel's feelings for White pain me in a way, honestly, because it's very beautiful in a way that hurts, you know? If Janet ever decided to talk, to meet with Daniel, there would be either a heavy silence or a conversation full of secrets uncovered. Oh, we'll see. But yeah, back to this thing here. The good night. This panel is her is pain. Like when I think of her mindset, because like how you said good night and you left. Look, I could talk about Danny and White all day. I would listen to it all day as well, honestly. So there's this line that didn't have a place in the chapter. Maybe, I don't know, but it's like, maybe it's for the better for all of you, but I can't write a line and not share it. I can't. Is it her saying it? Yeah. I should add a speech bubble then. That was the last thing she said to him. Well, here's the painful thing. There was a good night. A good morning didn't come since. I don't think you are okay, Andy. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But yeah, one of the thoughts I thought about. Are we seriously? We are seriously. Because in the end, we read a lot about Kid White and how he angered his mother and didn't like her and wished her to go to hell and stuff like that. But in the end, kids are so okay with things and they just will get used to anything. It's family. It's home. Whatever it is, like it's when you grow up when you start seeing things, but as a kid you don't really. Can't lurk in peace, sorry, silly. I'm sorry. The square bracket makes it seem like a video game. It makes it, oh my god, Blue, you made it worse. This is my OneNote. It's black. I write in white always. So, yeah. Oh my god, I just heard what I said and that was okay. Pain is a bit of understatement. Narrator White. I don't even blame this guy for the... Yeah. This is like, every time I am angered, I've talked about how White angers me for a very long time. How passive he is and how I'm very understanding of anyone who finds White upsetting as an adult. And I personally always, when I read a story, I'm always intolerant when it comes to adults stuck in the past and stuff. And White isn't the kind, honestly. All in all, he's not even hurting anyone. He is hindered by what's happening. Like his progress is hindered. More than that, there's nothing. He's trying to do his best for the people he cares about. Just the passivity of him not like fixing some truths or like standing up for himself and stuff like that. But when you think of the childhood he had, like you can't. If you think of it really, you can't be angry at him. Because he's doing so well for the hand he's been dealt, honestly. I write with White indeed, yeah. So yeah, that thing happened. Why are you intolerant of adult characters stuck in the... No. I thought that I didn't talk enough about that. But I mean, sometimes I read a story or watch something and I find this adult character that is stuck in the past in a way that this thing happened to me. And it's the worst thing that happened and they're just stuck there. They're not like White isn't living his life, but he's doing things like he's helping others, he's writing, he's working, But there are people who sees the bad thing that happened in their life. Like for example, I wasn't born into a wealthy family. That is very bad, okay? Being born like I wasn't born with blue eyes, for example. I don't know. I'm trying to find a thing because I meet these people all the time. People who are blaming the past and just that, like, please somebody help me because I can't think of it. I can't. Like, I hear it all the time. Someone is awful. I didn't want to say Eldar, but someone is awful and doing awful things. And it's because I was listening to someone the other day. Someone from Gaza. And we all know what's happening in Gaza. And that person pissed me off because he was talking about it in such like a personal issue, like that it hits him and how it's stopping in the way of his own dream. I can't explain. I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't want I especially don't want to be misunderstood in this point, because we're all young adults and adults or people at the doors of adulthood with bad things happening to us. We do awful things, we make mistakes, but there are certain people who are just there blaming something that happened to them years ago and not seeing anything in themselves that is wrong, you know? You're also based. My first thought was Pearl from Steven Universe. Exactly. An intolerance of actual people that refuse to move, not move on, but just move because their past was sad. And other people giving them excuses. Because to me, you can't understand where someone is coming from. Like, I can understand that this person is a shitty person because his father was so bad to him. But it's not an excuse. Every single day, sincerely apologetic, okay? But there are people, you meet people who are like, when I get angry, I'm not myself anymore. This is me. Like, no. This is you that you can improve. It's not something that I should accept. Like, if I don't accept it, then I don't accept you. I had a bad life, so I can understand, but doesn't justify bad actions. Yeah. It's the most embarrassed when politicians talk this way. Like, dude, you're the person responsible for progress. Why are you talking like it's a personal issue and not so much bigger than that? Yeah. Thank you. I hope it's understandable. Sorry, we went off topic, but again, I mentioned it, like, there is this story, I mentioned it before, No Longer Human. The first part is about a child having a trough. I felt for the child. The second and third part is this adult that is like, do something, man. White is very passive and he pisses me off. But when there is something wrong, he tries to fix it. And when he can help another person, he would help another person. What he's doing is hurting him mainly. He could be hurting Jad, he could be hurting Daniel, he could be hurting Black, but again, his circle is very small, and they all know that he's trying his best to not hurt them. And still he pisses me off. So imagine when I see someone that is like he's just blaming, or she or they are just blaming everyone in the universe for their misfortune while just sitting and not doing anything. It's just, and other people excusing it. Like, they had a tough life. Okay, Black had a tough life. He's not attacking he attacked one person and he realized it. You can make mistakes. Again, we all make mistakes. We all carry baggage, and we all sometimes react in a bad way because of this baggage. But we have to be humble enough to see it. Interested in Celine, Black interaction? Same. I am too. The random deep conversation these get into sometimes are good. Thank you, glad to hear that. I just don't want anyone who is here for the chapter discussion to be lured into these heavier topics. Maybe not everyone is up for that. And people have been called out for the way they act and just not do anything about it. Whenever you call them out, they said, been told that before. Do something about it. You're a full-blown adult. That's exactly it. Sorry for the rant. So Daniel grounded White. And White again, clap. He's being completely honest, saying that I realized that the idea of Black growing out of my life scares me, paralyzes me. Now, I forgot to mention something that I wrote as well to happen in this conversation, and I didn't put it on first because it didn't have, when you want to add a line, you have to make it ease in and ease out into the conversation nicely. And it might come again in the future. It might be something that he will think about. Maybe he will be in a better place and tells another person this. But I wrote, this was one of the things that I wrote in this big, wild conversation between Daniel and White, of White thinking, what's so bad about Black giving me purpose anyway? And I imagined Daniel answering, nothing. You're the one who had a problem with being defined as that from your reaction. But this, Daniel answering this, will open up a big topic to discuss between the two, and this is why I took it off. For now, it's scrapped. I don't know when it will be revisited, but I thought it's good to just throw it out here. Thanks for the hydrate. Then he drops bombs after bombs. Yeah, because as I said here, it's White who's the one clearly in conflict with who he is. You're the one who got angry when I told him, like, you can't just live for Black. Even though, like, it's the right thing to say, but don't come and ask me, like, what's so bad about Black giving me purpose? When you're the one who is triggered when I say it. Line teaser. And White just plainly said that I am afraid of Black leaving, so please stay. This is basically what he said. I don't want to talk to someone else. I love Danny call-outs. Yeah, and because he knows White and White knows him, again, this is why he is the perfect therapist to White, because White will probably not hear it as it is at this point from any other person, from a stranger, basically. But he has this dynamic of, like, throwing I forgot the word. It's not throwing shade, but like, I don't remember. A jab, maybe? At one another or something? I'm probably using it wrong. So yeah, he just says two wild things at once. I'm afraid of Black leaving me, and I don't want you to leave me as well. Jab is good, thank you. And Daniel, no expression, nothing. White asks, how bad does it feel? This is again White. He feels. He is very rational, but he really doesn't want to hurt anyone. And he's like, how does it feel? Talking about it. And Daniel is very blunt, saying it cuts to the bone. We like boxing terms. That's a boxing term. Great. Black's the only one in his life outside his two family. It still scares me too. Yeah. This makes a great podcast, which I'll have to do because I have to. Thanks a lot for being here, Blue. I hope you continue to listen to it when you can, if you are interested. Thanks a lot for coming. See you around. And then Daniel quickly jumped on the chance of giving him more options. He kind of played the game that he's gonna tell later with the simplifying things. Pick the simplest solution. So he goes, do you want to see another therapist? No. But you're hurt by what I'm saying. Okay. You have two options. You either do this or you do that. You either work on your inferiority complex and go talk to someone else, or you work on your perfect persona thing and accept the fact that whatever you say could hurt another person. And it's okay. Not like being mean, but like saying your rough childhood to someone that will hurt him, like Black. It will hurt him to hear about your childhood, but you're gonna do it anyway. It's risky for White to make Black his entire purpose. I know it won't happen, but imagine if Black actually left him. What would happen to White then? And like, strangely, this is exactly what White did. Like, he realized that all he has is Black and decided that all I am is a friend to Black, so I'm gonna stay like this until he doesn't need me anymore, and then I'll deal with it then. He realizes it's dangerous, but still willing to take the chance. Because sometimes not doing anything and not changing anything is the easier, even if it's not so good of an existence. Fast punch done with your hand, that's leading the stance, if that makes sense. I might have imagined it. Daniel happy about White choosing him. And then White, again, bluntly says that it just feels like it's hopeless to try to fix it, this bad childhood. Nothing can change the past, I know, but the damage is irreparable. And Daniel is like, yes, your childhood is irreversibly ruined. Daniel is really being daring, saying it as it is, because he can see in White that he is trying to explore something. So the more I corner him, the more he's going to see one thing to ask about. It's going to be easier for him. Pokemon Daniel, yes, that's my thought too. And White played right into that, just like Daniel hoped he would. This is very important. Like, a lot of the things that happens with White is he with all his knowledge, all his reading, all his smart brains and all that, he can see when something surprises him, when something happens. He can see the end line and then he jumps there. He doesn't take it step by step. The 5 stages of grief are important. You can't jump from shock to acceptance. And this is exactly what White keeps doing. He realizes something and accepts it, like he did in the abandoned building. He realized that, oh, this is all there is to me? Okay, that is all there is to me. But then he decided in this day, in this session, that he wants to be a person who wants to take action. And this is how he asks, then how can I move on? And this is written in the font of Kid White. Because in the end, it's Kid White who hasn't moved on from that good night. Now, it's worth mentioning that I thought a lot about the structure of this chapter, and in the beginning, I thought that I'm gonna divide it into parts. So part 1 is gonna be first part. I went, like, there's gonna be a box. Remember how I did it with the roller coaster chapter? It was divided into parts, and this one was as well. First part, I went all in, and he almost went out. It's this scene. White opening up about everything, and Daniel saying, how about another therapist? And the next was with Larissa, so I wrote second part, I wanted out. He is the one now he wants out, because he didn't want to be around Larissa apologizing and all that. But she lured me in too deep. She brought up a lot of things of what he was thinking about. But eventually, the chapter kind of worked better without these parts. But I thought it's good to mention this behind the scenes. Now, in chapter 77, after this, we jump to Larissa, but I kind of rearranged everything, as I said, in its own time, in its true timeline. So then, how can I move on leads us to this. Now, there could be some talk in between, but it also flows good in here. How can I move on? Here's a question. You hate cockroaches, right? Because it's too big of a question. How do I move on from a damaged childhood? So White, Daniel again is trying to make it narrower for White, like make the path too narrow for him to not look around and get lost in the details. So he suggests the philosophical razor. You want to know the origin, you need to know the origin and all that, and you want to know the why. And he again alludes to the fact that we are the same. I'm like that too. I like to know the why. But in your case, you really don't need to know. In your case, I don't do that with you. I try not to analyze where you're coming from. He's trying to make him not think, because it's too hard of a topic to dissect his childhood right now. Daniel didn't know that there are other questions in White's head. The envelope, for example. So had he known, he would be even more determined not to let him think of his childhood if there are that big of unanswered questions, because these questions need to be answered before we start walking around that topic of your childhood. Behind the scenes again, this is one of the panels that kind of got me trouble. I didn't know how I'm gonna do it. Thankfully, I thought of the maze and it got better, but just to show you how storyboards happen when I'm like Just throw in lines and try to think of things. I'm not sure how is this pronounced, Occam's razors, so we're gonna say that, but it's probably wrong, so don't quote me on it. Look it up. Danny themed toolbox, an X-Acto knife labeled philosophical, and a stud finder that finds reality instead of studs. He was so focused and so in control of everything, Daniel, on this whole session. He walked White into this philosophical razor, pick the simplest answer, and he got up to get this notebook because, again, he knows that White would love terms and knowledge and like scientific proven ideas to play around with. So he went to give him like this tiny book on philosophical razors because there's few. If you look up philosophical razors, there are few popular ones. So, and this is when White decided that no, about identity, it's not just what I thought about the friendship. I have this thing that has been bugging me, and it's funny that he hasn't brought it up to Daniel until now, which is the envelope here. But he doesn't want to just say it out loud, naturally, because here he's not a therapist only, he's his uncle. And Daniel kind of showed that it's his story too. So he wants to ask Daniel, but he doesn't want to ask it straightforward, in a straightforward manner. So he just mentions it. There are certain informations that are really important in the origin story. There are certain important information that needs to be addressed, not just like walk forward. And he gives Black an example. If you missed it, this crying figure says Ty with the eyes. TY. Again, it's White's need for answers. But Daniel is too smart. He quickly understood what White is asking. Because White was kind of not too smart person, because he kind of, you know how kids, not kids, tweens, when people start to, when kids start to grow up, they have maybe problems, love problems, friendship problems, school problems, and they want to ask you for advice. And they have this imaginary example, this imaginary scenario to try, and it's like carbon copy of whatever is happening with them. And White is a writer. He could be better than this. He could have come up with an example that is not, if Black finds out his family isn't his family, it's very funny to me. But at the same time, I understand White doesn't have his brain right at this moment. He's facing too many changes. He can't even be creative. And Daniel instantly understood what's happening here and is like, oh, wait. Really? Did Daniel want to give White the books about the razor, but then put it back? Yes. Yes. 100%. He went there to take this out, read about philosophical razors, pick the simplest solution, and move forward. But when White brought up this idea and he realized that, oh wait, are we questioning Jad now? No. You don't need philosophical reasons. You need answers. You need direct answers. So he's like, screw philosophical reasons. I'm ending this session. Get out. I have some digging to do. I need to read my notes. And I need to call someone. Get out now. And it's funny because White probably leaves when the session ends. If they start at 12, they end at 1. But Daniel brings out a cigarette and says, like, the session is over 5 minutes before it's over. And this is funny because White is checking his watch, like, 5 minutes away from the session. What's happening? We need answers. You need answers. Jadsers. And he tells him, just, you have Occam's razor, use that. And, you know, asking questions is a valuable asset in every human's existence. You could always try that. He kind of started a race here. He's like, you go ask, I will ask. Let's see who reaches the truth first. Daniel's like, White chose me as his therapist, and I'm going to make it everyone's problem. Before I move to the rest of the session, this part as well, this black part kind of also gave me trouble, and this was the storyboard for it. I thought I'm gonna make it like, these board games. This is what I thought of, like how this road led him to beating Tai. But thankfully I thought of this and it flowed better. Looks better as well. Now, from here, he says, like, you have questions, you can always do that. You can imagine White getting up, putting on his jacket, his camo jacket that he arrives in, and walked. Then he stopped. If you remember, where is... do we have... Here it is. He gets up. Oh, I forgot to draw the jacket here. I should add the jacket here because it is in other... There it is. So he gets up, wears the jacket and walks, and then stops at the window. He always stops at the window and looks out. It's just White things. So he walks there and stops here. He started talking to Daniel. The session started with Daniel talking about his identity as a friend and how he's accepted it. He stops here and he knows that he still have 5 minutes on the clock. I know you already want to smoke, but man, I want my 5 minutes. This is character development for White. And like, one more question. Daniel, okay. If Black and I aren't friends anymore, what would you say to that? This is from chapter 78. White and Glass, like father, like son, always together. It's a Jad thing, apparently. Yeah, he aura farms even as a blind man by standing and looking out the window. Asking for things he needs. Yes, he really needs this answer. I'm not gonna leave and wait for a whole week to talk about this. If Black and I aren't friends anymore, what would you say about that? And Daniel comes with the truth that I actually don't have a problem with your friendship. It's good to have such a close friend, and you've been in each other's life for so long. You're basically like brothers. You can't Stop being friends. And he tells him about all things about why you don't have other relationships. White was entertaining the question, like, are we just in each other's lives because we don't have other people in our lives? Danny encouraged him to ask. Yes, that too. I didn't think of it, but yeah, that too. Now, this part here is just like a small part of him when he said, do you consider writing fiction again? Fiction and writing is something that Daniel wants to talk about. It's a part of White that he wants to talk with White about in the future. But he is, again, planting seeds because that's what Daniel does. And I'm going to talk about it in a sec. I have a section about Daniel, what I talked about in the Discord, how Daniel strategically moved towards pushing White in the right direction. So he's now doing it with fiction. So this is things to come in the future. Daniel the gardener. Yep. I mean, yeah, was into plants. And here, it's a funny, comical panel, but it's very character development kind of panel because he is pissed at what Daniel is saying. Daniel said, now you're feeling like you should drift apart because Black is growing and probably will become more independent, so you want to find a way out before he does. It's kind of like, yes, White said before that the idea of Black leaving terrifies me. But it's kind of like when you're lazy, you say you're lazy, and if someone says you're lazy, you don't like to hear it. Remove lazy and put any kind of attitude that you have, and you get it. I can say it, you can't say it. No. A family of gardeners, yes. And then he pushes White to think of why does he have this hostility around others? And he brings it back to the question of damaged childhood, but not in a way of this damaged childhood and how we can get over it, but more of you as a child did have bad experiences and people proved every thought you had right. You are an outsider, you are shunned by the society that you lived in. Nobody was close to you and everyone thought the worst of you and your mother and even your father. But now you're an adult. People change, you changed places, you are in a whole different place. Why don't you try to approach people? They're not kids anymore influenced by their parents. Leaving himself open to being the one abandoned, leave him open to the idea that he deserves to be abandoned. Yeah, that's the thing. He does, like, even with his, because he has so little, if any, self-worth or self-respect or self-love towards himself or love towards himself, it always goes back to this, like, of course they're gonna leave. And he says it here. Daniel says it, actually. You're boring, bland, and unmemorable. We laughed a lot when the update happened about this face. I want to show you the original storyboard. It looks cute. Both evil White and angel White. Thanks for the follow. Maybe it's too blue, you can't see it. Welcome, welcome. We're having a discussion stream about the latest chapter that released, chapter 78 of my series, Greyis. Here is about Greyis, and here is where you can check it. They're both so funny and so cute. Thank you, Andy. And this session ends with give him and yourself more credit. And a few people wondered how White would answer that, and I imagined him just nodding and saying, I'll leave you to your smoking, and says goodbye and leaves. He doesn't overstay his welcome. And I can imagine Daniel being happy with how accepting White was of this line. Now, this whole session was divided into chapter 77 and 78. I stitched it back together so we can see the whole session and then see how everything unfolded after it. So from this, after he says his goodbye and leaves, he goes to Larissa. To Larissa's. Black sent him that you should come. They haven't talked for some time, and he went from Daniel to Larissa's. He's probably comforted by seeing Black all well and comical and stuff. And he's probably feeling a little bit lighter, even though there's a lot of things to think about after that session, but he feels a little bit lighter. So he's probably hungry, at least. He's probably been having a lot of stomach ache for the past few days without seeing Black, with all these thoughts, and after the abandoned building. Now he wants to eat. But guess what happens? Larissa wants to apologize for being so not nice with him, and he's like, I just want to eat, man. Danny is happy from the start of this whole session. Yeah. And he was chosen by White, and then White was accepting of all his words, so yeah. Bro's been cooking for days, but he never got to taste the meal. He's really hungry. He just wanted to eat. Because you can see that when they're talking, he's just continuing to eat. Like you can see here, he's just eating. As they're just talking all past and drama and everything. But then Larissa turns around and like, please, just let me eat. Let me finish. Like, look at that food. I want to eat all that. And then he dodged a bullet by cutting the conversation short when she tries to bring up his past and his childhood. This is weird mention because Larissa is complimenting him. He always had been dealing with so much. Yes, thank you for the command. That's what I needed. We need it on a shirt. It's weird. This is weird. And then Larissa got some development on her own by mentioning how what we were talking about just earlier, about needing a bigger support system than the family you were born into and the family that you create. That's his first instinct, is to say it's weird upon any phrase. Ouch. Yeah, it's funny when you think about it, and there's a command and all, but For him to be so... Oh my god, why are you saying good things about me? What is this foreign language I haven't learned? It's weird pin. I'll definitely keep it in mind. And then this whole talk about needing to be around mature kids to not let them neglect their childhood, and how she's feeling towards her mother recently. And then she tried to give Iya some benefit of the doubt. I can't imagine how it must have been for your... And she's like, White is like, no, I was 5 when she left. Shut it. I don't want to hear anything. White's way of shutting down any conversation, want to talk, anything that anyone want to say about his mother is fascinating. I've written a few scenes with other people, and the way he just shuts down... Fire launcher. Out of sight, out of mind. I was 5, now shush. And he's like, I would have had wildly different set of problems had she left me when I was a baby, but like leaving after 5 years? Wait for it, he's gonna go there once. Once? He's gonna go there. Someday. Why didn't she just end it where it started? And now that we have chapter 78 already read and out, this is why it'd be difficult to talk about it to Black. He didn't even know that Black already has the start of it. He already figured out that his mother probably left. I wonder if he wishes she had left earlier. I think it's better to wonder if he wishes she had terminated the pregnancy. I do have a note somewhere in my notes titled abortion. I'm teasing the future. It's White. He probably thought of every possible option there is. It's better he shot them talking about her so one can try to justify her actions and to change his mind about her, like they experience what he goes through. Yeah, he really... One would think that he doesn't want to hear anything about her because he does mention that about Yildar back in volume 5 when he's talking to Daniel, before we realize that it's White. He did mention, like, you have to remember that he's a monster. But honestly, I don't see him thinking the same way with his mother. His mother to him just does not exist. No reason to think about her whatsoever. Well, that's a conversation, yeah. That's a conversation I wrote. I still don't know when and how it's gonna be tackled, but White thought of every possible option. He's more interested of understanding, like you're reading a story, trying to understand the events, more than understanding that this is his mother who's done all that. And that is why he is kind, but nothing to do with her. Wants nothing to do with her. Yes, the aliens. When they're talking about her, it's as if it's confirmed its existence. Yeah. Maybe, yeah. And then Larissa's moment of glory. I wish people, when they have the printed book, actually measure these and realize that they're the same circle. You didn't realize that they are the same circle? The optical illusion, yeah. They are the same circle. The same exact size. This is why the header for the website, when this chapter was updating, was Larissa leaning on optical illusion book. Thank you, Andy. And White got really easy with her afterwards. And just, he smiled and he's talking to Larissa just casually, just fine. Did this brand of simple wisdom you and Black have come from your mother or your father? And Violet and Larissa are in their own lane. Everyone else was like the size becoming smaller for... Yeah, that's exactly the point. When you're surrounded by all these bigger things, it becomes smaller. And then White... so let's see, there are... Oh, this panel here, when he asks about Rita, like, where is Rita then? Is she like your mother or your father? And she says that Rita kinds of wants to keep the family as it was back when we were kids, but things change when we grow up. And this is when White kind of... He probably knows it in the back of his mind, but it's the first time he internalizes it. Black was always... I wrote here... Black was always the one who didn't want to grow up, when really I was the one holding on and not wanting to grow out of our childhood roles. More lines that didn't come, didn't make it to the end. And I mean, even Black is changing and growing up. And I always love when White is taken aback by some information about Black, because, like, I am the Black encyclopedia. What do you mean you have information I don't have registered? White's hair is so beautiful. Thank you. I put a lot of time on White's hair sometimes. And then Larissa tells about how Black is being critical of his mother's reaction and how he's appreciative of White's reaction. And this brings it back to chapter 76. On top of that abandoned building, what he feared was how he reacts and how he would react perfectly to White, something that he's been thinking of. So another moment where you can see the change and maturity of Black starting to show. He thought that he doesn't know how to react, and he instantly sought out help and talked it out with Larissa. And White instantly felt bad about the whole fight they had on the basketball court, because like he kind of got really angry for how Black reacted. This is what I wrote. So one of the things I kind of got lost in again while writing this was this. Because I wrote this whole thing and I thought that I'm going to fit it in chapter 77, but then I broke it into chapter 77 and chapter 78. Perfectly. It worked perfectly like that. When he's thinking about reaction, I wrote it as a whole thing. Black thinks about how his mother, when she learned about Ty, how she got angry and dragged him to apologize, then threw him in an old house they lived in, Violet, Noir, and Ildar and Izar. True, she doesn't know about the abuse, she has a responsibility and so on, but White has been around me all his life, and what I do angers him just the same, and moreover, he knows it all, and knows I cut too, something that infuriates him. Still, the first reaction was to be there, hug, comforting words, promise to be with him, etc. And then, on the other hand, he doesn't know how to react. This is me thinking about Black to White, even though he knows reactions are important. And this is when I realized that I can just shove it in chapter 78. When he hugs him, he decides that it's been worse. There were times when I was shoved because I hugged him, talking about Ildar. It could be selfish that I want to do things how I want, but it's not like that. I really want to comfort White, and maybe this, despite his discomfort with hugging, would make him feel better just a bit. So these are just random thoughts that kind of found their way in both chapter 77 and chapter 78. And then they go from Daniel's session to Larissa, and then they drive back to Black's place. I mentioned this before, and it's funny. Black probably wasn't able to take his long baths and take care of himself properly around in Larissa's house, because he just fears her seeing cuts. So he reached his home, and I'm like, I'm gonna go take a shower, so don't sleep. And White comes across this. You've been cooking for a long time. I have been cooking. Funny you say that, because this is in... Oh, I didn't save the time, but this is from 2023 when I was working on chapter 1 of this book. And I made the walkthrough memory board. I planned the whole thing, probably 2023, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. And this is me writing. And while I was working on it, from the point of view of Black throughout, I suddenly disconnected from his head, and I just felt that it's precious how hard he tries whenever he puts his mind to something, and how hard he tries throughout this book. And then I remembered how White feels when he sees all this effort from Black, something that will be shown at a later stage in this book. I had to doodle it. I didn't even know what he would be wearing, so I just drew this face. Why does he hurt my brain like this? Narrator says, my heart, actually, Mr. White. I wrote this in 2023 and I worked on this in 2025, so yeah. Yes. When I worked on the book, I thought that I knew, like while I was working on that board in chapter 71, I knew that White is gonna see it eventually, because no way I'm gonna not make White see how someone is making this for him. Building a time machine for him. So it was very rewarding to reach this chapter. Draw it and then wait for it to be released and release it with you all, and now say this. Back then, I didn't think that the board is gonna change like this and will have do better, and I just think of things very vaguely, very out in the open. I just knew that he's gonna see the board at some point. And there was no better time for him to see it than after the talk with Daniel and the talk with Larissa. You are seeing yourself as just Black's friend, and look at how hard he's trying to be a friend that never forgets, listens hard, reacts well, worthy of trust, so he can rely on me. I will be a better friend. Looking behind the light. Give him credit. Yes. That's exactly what led to chapter 78, when he decided to, no, I'm not gonna go excuse myself to make another cup of coffee when my cup of coffee is full. I'm gonna stay here and resign. Takar, yeah, this is why I was excited for this discussion stream, because of if you put the whole thing in its correct timeline, you're gonna see how well everything was placed for White to react the way he reacted. I need to do that against myself now. And he's suddenly more, not welcoming, but less angry. Not less angry in a way that it doesn't bother him, but more like, for tonight, after seeing this, man, I'm gonna accept your faults that hurt me, which is you cutting. Let me take care of that. And he takes care of that, and then tells him that, please, don't change for me. Be yourself, which helps in chapter 78, again, for Black to trust how to react and trust his actions towards White. And from here, he tells him about the philosophical razor thing, and then they read about the philosophical razor thing because Daniel didn't give him the notebook, after all. So they decided to Google it. They talked a little bit, and then White excuses himself and get out to leave back to his house, Jad's house. Now, he kind of checked some boxes throughout the day. He talked about identity, he talked about mornings, he talked about Black not needing to change, he talked about how to get over a bad childhood and all that. And he realized that there is one question that he needs to ask, and it's for Jad. Ever since he brought it up, I've been meaning to get back to it. But of course, in typical White manner, he decided to go home, not talk about it instantly, because let's give him some break. He couldn't even have a proper meal without bringing up childhood and mother and all that. So he decided to just call it a night and decided that he needs to talk about it soon. The bright side of the moon panel, yes. He decided to just try. Already when I reread these chapter today before the update, and now it's so beautiful. What's development? Thank you. It's very subtle if you read it fast. But he's really taking big steps. At the same time where he's leaving, going back home, Daniel calls Jad and is like, yo, I have a question. We'll talk about it, but first sleep. Now, here's the thing. How I imagined it happened. Because chapter 78, this is right after this day, okay? So I imagine White arrived home, Jad is already done with the phone call, but he's distant. He's probably in his bed already, and I imagined White asking him, like, do you want to have dinner? And Jad's like, I already had dinner, and White clearly sees in the kitchen he hasn't eaten anything. He didn't do... like, it's clear that Jad didn't eat and is in bed and not really being truthful. And for that night, kind of served White well for Jad to be distant, because he's like, great, I'll go to bed now. And the following day, Black was in his house because he probably had work in the morning. So I imagine Jandar drove him back to White's house. And he quickly came here to see White for whatever reason, but he probably heard him throwing up and just sat outside. Because I imagine White again, he woke up in the morning and with the pressure of needing to bring up the question to Jad. Like after all the session and talk with Black and Larissa, he decided that he needs to talk with Jad, and now there is this pressure. His typical mannerism is to not approach things very fast, but at the same time, he wants to get it out of the way. So the pressure is taking a toll on his stomach and he's just throwing up. He probably, in the morning, visited Jad and realized that Jad is still distant, acting distant with him. He was worried for sure, but I imagine it served him well to be distracted from the question he needs to ask, because he now has to know what's the deal with Jad before he asks any serious question. This is Mr. I'm not eating well, I'm not sleeping well, I have a question I need to ask, and hi. He decides to do a recap of recap. It's like first it was Black distancing himself from White, now it's Jad who is now distancing himself from White, so it's expected of White to now feel a new wave of stress. So I guess that was the... Yes, for sure. He's been living in his comfort zone for so long, and everyone is just acting the way that suits him. And now suddenly everyone is changing and acting in different ways, and he's like... He cares about him so much and puts him 100%. I love all... it happened more than once. It happened in chapter 8. It happened throughout the story. It happens when White just compliments Black for how strong he is. Like, How do you do it? Even with his broken knuckles, he's like, how did you survive broken bones before? I love how you showed. Thank you. This, yeah, I had to think a lot about it. I saw it, how it's moving from the minute I draw it, but it was hard to find all the proper scenes from all the chapters and just fit it all in this. So I'm glad that you like it. And then this whole thing, the Couch of Extremes, the filler we all needed. And he's worried about Jad, so he's like, you know how you have the sibling that is closest to your, you know, if you wrong your parent, you go to the closest to them and like, so did you talk to mom today? Did you talk to dad today? So he's like, I'm gonna use my card, black. Thank you for the poster check and hydrate, silly. I should hydrate, actually. And White overall is just chill. He's very tired, more than chill. They're so brothers. Yeah. He's just tired. He even didn't really think of that because he told Black that I want you to come over to arrange books, and he didn't even remember that this is a thing that Black used to do. And with his theory that Black remembers things when he tell him before he goes to sleep, so Black thinks White was playing this game when White is like, I'm tired, man. I had the wildest talk with Daniel and your sister didn't leave me alone and my father isn't talking to me. I definitely didn't think of that. And then Black being Mr. Observant again. It's like, what are all these notebooks? Can I read one? And Dwight didn't deliver. Now you should be thankful that he didn't read any of the books, because if we stopped time for him to open the bookcase and read one book, we wouldn't have gotten all this, right? So taking Daniel's flashback from this, we go from this to Black just looking through the boxes and finding this only lonely picture of Kid White with the name completely scratched. And then he drops the bomb, the best update in, I guess, in forever. This update moved mountains. And now we can understand, after we've seen the whole session together and all that happened after it, we can understand why White fought a little bit, not to open up, but not that much, and just gave in. Like, let it be. The reality testing one was so perfectly timed from Daniel, because yesterday you told me to reality test, you told me to give Black credit, you approved of our friendship, and I'm so tired. I'm not eating well, my stomach is hurting, and low-key feeling abandoned by my distant father, so yeah, sure, do whatever you want, dude. Just... It moved hearts? Oh, Andy. Yes, this one did trigger the waterworks. Black had a little dilemma on his own, how to react. He remembered how the last time he found a picture of Yeldar and Izar and how Yeldar just shoved him out of the way and like was angry for looking through things. But then he's like, I'm gonna take my chances. He didn't even know about reality testing, but that's all he does. He's always reality testing everything. He's like, screw it. He's gonna be angry, let him be angry. I feel like this is what needs to happen. And this is exactly what needed to happen. A lot of people were talking about them having a talk, White opening up, but whatever happens is for the best, because this is the one thing that White needs to understand. What happened to you is unfair. What happened to you is wrong, and you have every reason to be sad and angry and whatever it is you're feeling. So Black just putting his hand on his shoulder and telling him, it pisses me off, reminded White of who Black is. And also let him hear that it's unfair. Maybe if Daniel said it to him, because Daniel thought about it. If you read chapter 73, there is this scene where White is saying like, it's understandable that Black will forget me. It kind of hurts, but like, I want to know why he remembered me here. And Daniel was looking at him like, it hurts. It's understandable, or it's natural for him to forget you. Like, why are you so accepting of being treated badly? So if Daniel was the one to say it, I don't think it would hit White the way it would hit coming from a person like Black. Now we're crying again? I'm sorry. It's just... Let me put a good spin on it then. How about I show you... we go here, all the words are just... He's feeling lighter. Black just hugged his head, and he... Clearly, he's just really stressed out and all fists and doesn't want to be hugged, but at the same time, he's allowing it to happen. The way this parallel to when they were 8 too, yeah, 100%. This is a great point, Elma. This page ended up like this, which I'm more happy with because I like the first design, which is this. This was the first design. It's the text, White letting go of the text and Black letting go of his fears, symbolized in evil Black's long hair. Or Yeldar's. They both have long hair. But I feel like it reads better, and the whole thing should be easier, not that messy. It does work better as a spread. You're right. Than this. But this is easier. Like, there's a lot of messiness here. It's good to open the spread and have it read easy and look easy on the eye, you know? Now, funny behind the scene trivia, this page I actually wrote and was supposed to be part of chapter 74 and a half, the one with the lighthouse, because if you remember the discussion stream, the lighthouse, the whole lighthouse thing wasn't in chapter 70. It wasn't in that half chapter back then. It happened on the spot while I was writing it. So this was the original sketch and how I was going to draw it. And then I decided that no, this is not the time. It's too soon for them. I needed chapter 76 to happen. I needed their doubts. I needed to show how Black needs to cry and needs a hug and all that. And I needed to show again that White doesn't want to talk and doesn't want reactions. Because it happened in chapter 73, and this is why it was part of chapter 74 and a half. because it happened in chapter 73 that Black thought that he doesn't want to talk, and White thought that he doesn't want to talk, and Black thought that he wants to cry. The timing of the scene ended up being absolutely thank you. The most tearjerker of the world has seen. Thank you. I think a lot about these things, and I don't like to present things sooner than they are or later than they should be. So after I decided that this is not going to be part of chapter 74 and a half, I decided to write it. I don't want to talk, I don't want reactions, but maybe what I don't want is what he needs, exactly what he needs to do, the one who feels it all, the one who needs to feel. It's either this line or this line. I'm just writing it. And then I need to cry, I need a hug, but maybe what I need is exactly what he doesn't want, the one here who remembers it all, or the one who needs to think. And then I thought it over. Usually I write the thing and then I try to explain it to myself, because I decided that this is going to be later on, not in chapter 74. So White needs to talk and open up without restrictions in fear of Black's empathetic nature to deal with his childhood trauma. Black needs to restrict his display of emotions and think of the White and think of, I don't know, to be the reliable person he wants to be for him. Black wants to be a reliable friend, and White wants to be an unforgettable companion. So this is how I decided that, yeah, it works perfectly with chapter 78. Now, back to this. Let me show some expressions I did for it. So this is showing more of White's face and him hugging back. But I thought the hugging back should be later, something that Black will remember. And I wanted to show more of White's not wanting to be hugged with his hands here. This is very funny. His head is so wrongly placed, and this is the final one, I guess. I decided to hide his face. Now, I need to talk about some of the changes in chapter 78, because this chapter was going in a whole different direction. Once we're done with this book, we're going to talk about the whole book as a whole, the whole arc and all that. And I'm going to share a video I recorded of myself. I was sitting on the couch talking to I talk to myself out loud about this story most of the time. And sometimes I record. Recently, I started recording voice notes of me thinking out loud. But back then, I didn't use voice notes. So what happened is, after I talked for like 22 minutes, I thought that these are good to listen to after I'm done with the whole arc. So I just, thankfully, I have this security camera for for Jevi. So I just took that video and saved it. And I talk about how some of the things I wanted to tackle in this arc, and how some of them I want them for the future, because I don't want to just open up everything and answer everything in this book. If they had moved, would you have shown White's hand moving to hug or hide that still? Oh, as an animation, you mean? Okay, if you mean animation, I was waiting for confirmation. White would still... I will still not show... I wouldn't show him hugging Black back in this scene. Yeah, I don't think I will show him moving his hand and hugging back. No, it's gonna be still. Like suddenly a movement during the same amount of pacing was accessible. I will still have him like maybe his hands are, maybe he's shaking because the following panel is, the following monologue is about how he silently shook. So in this portion, he's gonna be just shaking. But you're gonna see in this panel maybe, and in when Black remembers, that he hugged back, but you're not gonna see the whole motion of his hand moving from this to Black's back. Even though it's a big gesture for him to make, to actually do it, still, I Hey, silly. So from here, the story would have gone into a whole different direction. Like until here, I thought of, yeah, it's gonna be a hug, and then this thing that I drew forever ago, I guess. Let's go through it. So after Black hugs White, he leaves, goes upstairs to Jad. Jad is sitting. He is just like tiptoeing inside. He doesn't want to see anyone. And Jad's like Black, and Black is startled, and he's like, "You're a moose no more. You're like a bat with bad eyesight and sharp ears, Mr. Vampire. Gotta ask White names for famous psychics as well. New nickname coming soon." And Jad's like, "It's cute you still think your tiptoeing is quiet." Black's like, "Stop." And then there's silence, longer silence, and then Black just rests his head on Jad's shoulder or back. And Jad, you fought again because he can't feel that he's very silent and all that. And Black says rather the complete opposite. And he cries here, not with... So the intention of Black not crying around White was there. But what I was talking about, the 22 minutes that I recorded when I started writing this arc, was me trying to think of what ideas I want to tackle. And when I started, I didn't know how much of White and Jad's issue I want to tackle in this book. I knew that I have to tackle it, but I didn't know how long I want to take it. So to me, it was, he's going to ask the question, have you ever questioned it? Which Jad asked in chapter 73. And the whole envelope thing. But I didn't know how far I'm going to take it. Again, I write vaguely, I write big ideas and don't really go into details until I reach the chapter. So when I reach this chapter, we're already tackling the topic a lot. Daniel now is in the know and he asks Jad directly. So Jad has to be sad and sad, distant and blah, blah, blah. So this scene doesn't work anymore, but I still wanted to show it. It's cute. And it ends after that. It ends with this. After Black says, no, we didn't fight, complete opposite direction. Black thinks, I remember the times he broke in tears next to me, but this one is a real first, unforgettable. And then Jad looks pensive because I wrote this thing and I want it in the story. This is a good moment to point out that sometimes you have to have the awareness to know what is self-indulgent and what really serves the story. I wanted this in the book because it's adorable, because it's cute. And when I reach this point, the topic of the envelope and Jad and White is on the table. So I needed to keep this cute scene and then connect it to the harsh reality of Jad. So I just added Jad looks ahead, pensive, thinking of White. And then I added, I continued to, because I thought of White has to go on this bicycle ride. So door slams, Black look aside, and he thinks, just hope that we get to see him again. Black is thinking that. But when I started storyboarding, I realized that this doesn't work. Just because I like this, it's self-indulgent that I want this in the book, in the story, because it's cute. No, I have to take it seriously. It's a very serious topic that I want to talk about seriously. I can't show Jad at all until the end of the chapter. I'm curious because it kind of delivers like an unconscious or repressed emotion, which makes interesting implications. An unconscious or repressed... Yeah, true. 100%. I guess this is why I can't see it moving. It happened. It happened whether unconsciously or naturally. Who knows? But it happened, but I don't want to put too much emphasis on it. I love how you read it. Another thing that is changed now, back then I was writing this, I was on one stream mentioning that I'm thinking about orcas and I don't know how to switch to a scene with an orca, and everyone thought of White, and I'm like, no, it's someone else because it's Black, remembering the aquarium visit. So this is what I was thinking at the time. Double spread of a page of White walking, he wasn't even cycling. Change in scenery and time, like in volume 4, that chapter with Black when he went out on a walk while he was staying at Larissa's, and then he sees Hawkman. I kind of wanted a parallel to that. And how I thought of the orca entrance was car slides, I don't know, in a corner, and maybe White carrying the bike. Okay, so I thought of him walking, and then I thought of him cycling. Great. Carrying the bike to walk downstairs, and Boy hides screen with an orca balloon. So in the end, I thought that I'm gonna rely on a passerby carrying a balloon that has an orca on it. He was calm in the draft. Impossible, I know, right? But then I thought of, like, no, you know what? It's a perfect time for him to just fall and ruin his beautiful face. So I went with him jumping, and I thought it's a great visual of the character development for the orca. For him to just drive off accidentally off the cliff, and the orca jumping into water. Now, this originally wasn't here. It was Black and Evil Black talks to Evie. That's the whole thing. That was the whole plan. He didn't ruin his face. He looks better. So this is another thing that changed from Black sleeping and talking to evil Black again to this aquarium scene. The talk was the same. He's gonna talk with his grandma. But one thing was going to change is the message that Black sends. I want to tell him that message to White. I kind of remembered the aquarium just now, your 20th birthday. But then I thought, when I started storyboarding, I thought, no. I'm gonna make Black as casual as he can be. Because it will serve this last monologue that happens with White and him saying change can still be the same. I was showing Greyis to my classmate after the episode came out. After that episode came out, and he said to me, he dies, doesn't he? Imagine if he dies like that. Don't speak that into existence. The text was so big, even my blurry screen can read it. The talks to Evie. Now, this beautiful face, I'm gonna tell you the story behind this face that you all love. I don't have any visual proof for this, because apparently I don't know if I even write it. I don't know if I even wrote it. But here, when I wrote this, Grandma will still be Grandma, Dad will still be Dad. In a way, I won't be me anymore. But just like how this same trivial conversation we always have carries within it a world of difference from who we were 2 weeks ago. Change can still be the same. This is like the third or fourth time White does this to me. I have a plan and he just like, no, not yet. Here, I thought of him smiling. I thought of him comforted by everything that happened in a way. And he's just kind of a little bit accepting that change can still be the same. So creating a page, storyboarding it, I checked the storyboard. The storyboards don't have a smile. But I 100% remember that I either wrote it in the script or sketched somewhere and then I changed even the storyboard to him not being in a smiley face. I mean, smiley face. So I storyboarded it thinking that he's gonna be smiling, but by the time I started lining, because it takes time, and I don't know how many pages I had that day, so I probably, like, after 4 hours or 5 hours until I reached this panel, and when I reached it, it just felt that White, no, he's not okay, actually. He's afraid. He has to talk with his father. He's sad that things are changing. He's also, here, he is almost crying. He didn't cry around Black. There was a scream, like this thing here. He shook silently. He kept shaking. He couldn't cry. An inferno blazing behind his eyes. All the tears are just locked up. A scream sealed beneath the surface. He couldn't cry. But I imagine him here on his own. He teared up. It's so good to not smile, man. It's, yeah. It just felt wrong. He's not really okay. He's in a better place in a way. He's optimistic, maybe. There is some optimism there when he says Dad would still be Dad. And trivial conversation has a world of difference, but still. I love casual Black, just beach chilling. It's so beautiful, so complex. He looks good with the same height as Jad, honestly, here. We need a cry. Do we need a break? It's been, oh my god, 3 hours. Do you need a bathroom break, water break, whatever? Yeah, I thought we're gonna end with a good note, and honestly, I kind of felt yeah. Okay, sorry, I totally forget, lost track of time. I'm shocked that it's been 3 hours. So let's take a 10-minute break. Why not? Oh, I should have taken it an hour ago, maybe. But yeah, I'll come back to this because there's one more comment to talk about this. But we can end it with a note that, yeah, White thought that, no, ma'am, I'm not ready. You need some cereal. A tea break would be nice. Cereal and milk. Okay, then I'll go downstairs, just stretch my legs and check on Javi too. He probably needs food. And we'll be back in 10. To White. Something about Greyis streams and doing dishes just go hand in hand. I'm glad to hear that. I enjoy doing the streams, doing the dishes. I mean, thank you for waiting. Thank you. Welcome back. I'll be waiting for anyone who is taking a breather. I read this comment on Webtoons that is really good, and it kind of reminded me of something I wanted to talk about White before, and the whole relationships thing and bigger circle that he needs. So Smiley also on Webtoon left this big comment. Okay, glad to read White won't change his perspective on Jad, but why change his own perspective on himself? You are White, and you are Black's brother, Jad's son, Grandma's grandson, Daniel's nephew. You are complex and over-analytical, genius, cynical, and please work on your self-esteem, because you are an amazing person, in my opinion, from reading how you have handled your whole life experiences and how you see the world around you is incredible to witness. You should definitely do creative work, but ground yourself in knowing you are wanted and loved deeply by those around you. So when you broaden your sphere of people around you and let them know the real you, be secure in knowing that you matter to them and you will be missed if you aren't there. You are not an easily forgettable person, White, and when you come to realize and accept that your life will change forever, even just a little bit, speaking from experience on my part. This part about broadening the sphere of people, it doesn't only helps because you're gonna be liked. This is a thing that you really, those who have small circle of people and are anxious of making it bigger, in fear of maybe not being liked or these other people cementing the bad ideas that you have about yourself. Sometimes it really helps to broaden the circle of people you know and learn that whatever you thought badly of yourself is confirmed by those new people, but it kind of cement the people that are already in your life and are willing to stay around you, you know? Like, even though I see myself like this and see those new people agree with my view on myself, you're gonna find that there are people who know this about yourself and are actually interested in being around you, even with this thing, you know? Like when people don't like my honesty, for example, or I was never a groups person, you know? I never fit in a group of friends, even though I feel like I some part of me feels like there's a part of me that would be healed if I had more, like if I was in a friend group. But at the same time, when you feel like you always don't work in that dynamic, for example, and then a group of friends come that you work well with your faults or with the things that didn't work with other friend groups, you kind of feel like you get the confirmation that it's not you, really. It's just a matter of puzzle pieces fitting or not. I had this idea while I watched Run with the Wind with Kakeru's character arc. Some criticize how fast he changed and stuff, but he just needed to be in this friend group for him to feel comfortable and just be okay. So regardless of the outcome, again, it's like reality testing. It's always tops not trying. Hey, L3, welcome. How to send a webtoon comment to White and temporarily break the fourth wall? Would he believe it though? So yeah. Welcome back, everyone. We left at this, with White being like, I'm not okay. I'm in a better place. I look good. I have a good hair, and you're happy with all the scratches that you get to draw for the foreseeable future. But I can't smile, ma'am. I'm like, okay, dude, you're not smiling. I noticed something else though. When he says carries within it a world of difference from who we were 2 weeks ago, it's very interesting how Black is the one with emotion in his eyes and all messed up with all these, with all this blood and scratches. And Black is the one that is looking kind of thoughtful and mature and clean. So it does carry with it a world of difference from who they were visually as well. And then we get the gun. There's a gun, don't touch it. Check the other drawer. This is the page that I mentioned before. When I storyboarded this, I kind of felt, man, I love directing. I love directing. I love to find out ways where to position the camera or the viewing angle. For some reason, the whole overlapping scenes with the placement of Black, I love that. And it made me realize how much I enjoy storyboarding. If we broke the fourth wall and White was faced with someone who had literally read his thoughts and monologues, someone who did have the sense of knowing him, I do kind of wonder how the interaction would go faced with someone who could see him like that. He would freak out knowing that someone read his whole thoughts, and oh my god, he will freak out. I kind of feel like he would continuously think how judged he must have been. Sad. I want to see Freak Out White lovingly. No, I added this so I wouldn't leave people hanging. I would have loved to end this here, but at the same time, this is a lighter note, 1. 2, I didn't want people to like, if I end it here, people would continue to wait for the next Black-White interaction after the hug, even though they had the message. But still, I needed to just put a closure to that and show how Black reacted to White showing up like this. This envelope made 2 chapters cliffhangers on... Yes, yes. Ah, yes. Sounds like being a manga character would actually be his worst night. 100%. Welcome back, Andy. Sorry, I could have swore I saw you in chat. I was waiting for everyone to come back. Ah. Did we say anything of importance? I love storyboarding and the contrast of how black is clean with a thoughtful look and a mature look overall, next to bloody, emotional white. It's the world of difference from who they were 2 weeks ago. This is, I guess, the only important thing that we talked about. They really switched. Black looks afraid in a mature way. Yeah. This face. Thank you, Hyro. And then we have Mr. White coming back with his quiet answers. Did you do something dangerous without me? This is Black's first reaction. Are you trying to be me now? I'd fail. What am I going to tell Wasim now? Why are you sounding like a mother? He looks older and White's face makes him look younger. Yeah. Overall, Black looks mature here. And honestly, remember Black from chapter 1 when he found out his door is open and thought, oh, I wish it's a thief so I can beat him up? Remember that Black? If that Black was standing here, he's like, oh my god, a gun, cool. And he wouldn't even give the reaction, give Jad the time to say, don't touch it. So there are a lot of development in the details here and there. Poor guy's too tired. He is too tired. Black is jealous of the grass because White was the one with it. This is the second time Black greets White with like all the shouting and like, where have you been till now and stuff like that. Like a worried mother. Or an angry wife, I don't know. You pick. And then did you talk to Dad? I was asleep. I imagine how they take care of these. And I imagine Black took care of the forehead. And then White's like, no, this hurts a lot. You know how scratched cheek and cheekbone could be hurtful? So he's like, I'll take care of it myself. So he's just holding the mirror for him. And then he's like been away from his phone for so long, White, and his phone addiction. So yeah, take care of my arm while I keep up with the internet. Chad doesn't want Black touching the gun because he'd leave fingerprints on it. Or maybe he just, don't touch it. God damn, do I still have that in the living room? Maybe. I love how White talked with Black there, low tone without contacting eyes. Like some kid did something. Yeah, that's exactly the vision I wanted for him. Just like dragging his bicycle with all his side with grass and dirt and blood. I have the perfect meme for early Black versus I'd love to see it. Early Black and current Black is just beautiful. I just told you that you can lean on me and instead you got lean on some grass. I was asleep without hesitation or... Yeah, listen, Black he does wrong so effortlessly. if he wants to lie or act or just... And he has the audacity to be angry at other people, but he can do it just fine. And then, yeah, the aquarium visit after a nap. Yeah. What else do we have here? Where did we talk about Daniel? I didn't... Where's the Daniel? Just a sec. I swear I remember. Could it be in downloads? That's... Oh, Daniel's actions. There it is. If you're on Discord, you already have seen this, but I'm gonna put it here for those who are gonna check the VOD later and maybe aren't on Discord or don't check all the channels. But Daniel's actions. Daniel, since chapter 55, when White broke his knuckles and went to him for help, professional help, has been laying out the ground to push White towards something new. From visiting him in his new house and making sure he's writing outside of the magazine work, when he painted the bookcase with him, then pushing him to check his relationship with Jad in chapter 65, to suggesting he wakes up early and change his schedule, mentioned in chapter 67. He then was direct with how White angered him, but also praised him when White confessed hard truths or when he felt White's doing some progress in chapter 73 and 75. To recently, in the latest grand session, which we talked about today, where Daniel shook the ground under him by asking him about changing therapist, while also showing him that he's affected too by what happened in his childhood, to now putting the writing on the wall about his friendship to Black, to enter into a bigger topic which will come to this session after a few updates, which is to broaden your circle of friends and people and just have different kinds of relationship. Not everything has to be best friend or fiance or serious romantic relationship. Just know people, talk to them lightly, test your existence and all that. And he really he didn't tackle the idea of make other relationships until he was sure that you need to fix your relationship with Jad and you need to trust your relationship with Black, because you need more people and keep the people that you have already existing. I remember I took other things, like this Daniel's actions. I needed to put all the visuals from the chapters, and I had more screenshots I took from storyboards and things I've changed, but I kind of first ran out of time, and this stream is already too long. I don't want to keep you longer. I already got self-conscious when I saw that it's been 3 hours. These things get too long, and I'm sure you all... it's your weekend and all that, so... Daniel, we all chant, yes. And now we're left with Please Don't Tell Me. And we have one last chapter in this arc. Thank you, and thank you, Silly. Yeah, one long chapter left. Thank you. I'm glad that you. It's a great time. I guess we have just. I don't want to. Just to show how how many times I went over. How many times I went over the talk, Daniel to Larissa, Larissa to Daniel, chapter 77 and 78. It was very hard to come up with a good structure. So White, Daniel, then Larissa, then we go back to Daniel. These are the topics: friendship, philosophical razor, Black being himself, childhood, his mother, his father. Do you know how much we will wait? I will update. I will update. I will let you know if there is an update next week or the week. Like, will there be a break? Will there a break of 1 week or 2 weeks? I will update on the Discord and Twitter. Oh, thank you so much, Psycho. It really comforts me to know that you wait for these streams. I took a break since the updates uploaded until now. I'm having fun. Thank you, Aishu. Of course, all these notes, notebook tour, hopefully is going to be in a... hopefully I'll have time to do a handbook, the usual handbook. But I'm kind of worried now. I need to make a final decision about the third box set. Because if I decide to make a third box set, I'll have to release it with the release of the book for those who want to buy the book or want to buy the box set. At the same time, I'm worried about the box set because the box set 1 and 2 are, especially 1, are almost selling out. And I'm not sure how I feel about reprinting. These things, the box set idea was the one thing I really wanted, but all the drama that happened with it and with the shipping and all the boxes that reached the readers bent or something. And then the trouble of how to package them and ship them, next to the idea of how many do I print, you know? Because I'm not a company, I'm just one person. So if I print, let's say 1,000, 500 for a box set and 500 for like single books, it's a lot of things to think about and consider, is what I'm saying. So I feel bad about not doing this because the third art book will have the third box set will have book 8, 9, and 10. And I already had the art for it, which will work well with the first 2 artworks on the box set. It's harder without the print-on-demand stuff. Excuse me, I need to... This random cough thing I have, I don't understand. It's usually just at night, so I'm not sleeping well. But it's happening like after sunset, this cough starts. It's the weirdest pattern of random coughing I've experienced. But yeah, I don't know who to ask, how to ask. A lot of people aren't on Twitter anymore. On Instagram, I have big, huge following that I don't know who's serious and who has already have the box set and who doesn't. On Discord, there's just also a handful of people. So this has been a worry of mine. Should I print the third box set or just release book 10 and never go back to the box set idea until they sell out? The book itself, book 10, I need to do the handbook. The art book. I can only speak from my own experience, but the box set was fantastic for me. Thank you. I was very excited for it. I really enjoyed it, especially, again, as I said, the story from volume 1 to 10 is one big thing, you could say. I pray you figure things out. Thank you. It's very difficult, for real. Tomorrow I have a talk at a school, the first talk at a school as a manga artist, and I legit don't know what to expect. I loved it so much, and it makes both my bookshelf and heart. Oh, Hyro. So I decided, I initially thought that this stream is going to take 2 hours, and then I'll have some time to go over the keynote or the slideshow that I prepared. It's created like a little area on the bookshelf for the series. It's amazing. You're going to make me want to do one now. I want to myself, but at the same time, the idea, this has been a thing for me ever since I started, like I passed volume 6 or 7. It's like the best thing and the worst thing that happens to me is when someone orders all the books. The best thing because it's good money. The worst thing, good money and very heartwarming that someone would buy the whole series at once. But at the same time, it's such a difficult thing to consider, shipping-wise and packaging-wise. I like the box set, especially since shipping can sometimes damage materials and sets tend to hold better. I wished the box set is more cardboardy, more like thicker, so it wouldn't bend. But that is a whole big thing on itself as well, in itself. I'm glad the stream didn't Thank you, Andy. Thank you. Oh, Sleepy, thank you. Thank you so much for thank you, Anne. I have an idea, which I don't know if you could work. Can you make the box fold? I thought of this, but honestly, would a foldable box be a thing anyone would like? Like people would glue it themselves? I don't know. I'm sorry I have to go to... It's okay, Psycho. I've been for so long, honestly. Please don't apologize for having streaming so long. I really enjoy long streams. Thank you. I can have a chill day without errands and always can't wait for that. Thank you so much, Psycho. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your words and for being here and staying for so long. And good luck with your errands. And with the talk tomorrow, everything shall go smoothly. I hope so. Thank you. I don't want to take more of all of your time. It's the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. I'll go work on my slides and we'll check this Discord as well. Thank you so much for being here for the discussion stream. And I can't wait for chapter 79 to begin. You've seen just a few teasers. I'll open the channel on the Discord. If anyone remembers the teasers across my social media, you can just post them there. You're free to do so. You've seen me work on some pages on the stream, which I think now that you've seen where chapter 78 ended, you probably are wondering, how are we doing that? The whole scene with black and white and the mirror and stuff. Thank you, Andy. I finished my research paper during... great. Share how it will go tomorrow on Discord. You got this? I hope so. I assume you definitely put a lot of effort putting all the notes and ideas together. Yeah, I tried. This discussion stream has been on my mind for 3 weeks or 4 weeks now. So I tried to finish everything, but then I thought it's gonna be longer and longer and stuff, so... Thank you, Anne. Obsess about whack more. Don't want to take more of your weekend. Not gonna lie, mate, when you're out, if we don't have a movie... What? Wait. Grey is night, no matter how. Thank you. It was better than I was waiting. Thank you, Anne. Thank you so much. Have a good one, everyone. And I'll definitely let you know when is the next update. Thank you, and see you next time.